good morning, good afternoon and good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Hope you are today, hope you are feeling grand and all as well in your world. Hello there, welcome to another Q&A Wednesday. I'm your host, Dave Simpson. Hi. So let's get to the first question today, which is this. Would you recommend the MG100 HDFX or the CR120 for a Metallica sound? If not, what other solid state amps are good for that sound? Yes, I would highly recommend the CR120 and the Marshall MG for a Metallica kind of sound. I'd also recommend the PV Bandit. It's got a really cool kind of sound to it as well, and also you can run it out into a 412 cab as well. But the one amp I would highly recommend for Metallica over the CR120 and the Bandit is the MG. Simply because it's inbuilt effects, and because it's got chorus, which is a need, everything's kind of like in one package, so to say. Instead of having like a chorus pedal and all sorts of other stuff, you don't actually need any of that. You just need the amp and a foot switch. Because the really cool thing is, with a foot switch on an MG, if your foot's big enough, and I don't know whose foot isn't big enough to kind of press both of these on, you can go from a clean channel with a chorus effect on, press both of them and go to a distortion channel. And I'll show you what I mean, if I can get that back down there without destroying everything. So I've quickly kind of dialed in what I perceive to be kind of like a James Hetfieldy kind of sound. So this is the clean channel of the CR120, indeed, the Marshall MG. I've got the gain on 10, bass is on 2, middle is all the way off, and treble is all the way up on 10. And I've got the chorus effect on with the effects level at 12, and it gives you that kind of really kind of like sparkly James Hetfield kind of clean. And then if you get both of the pedals together, you get to your distortion channel. I'll use OD2 on the MG, gain all the way up. I've got gain all the way up, bass on 2, middle on 2, treble on 2, contour off. You don't want to touch the contour dial, and volume on 10. And if you press both of them switches at the same time, you get a really cool kind of Metallica distortion. Okay, I've just quickly rushed this, but. And then you can click back. Yeah, it's back to that. So I'll definitely highly recommend the MG, simply for that reason alone. In fact, it's got chorus, and you can just kind of get it on one kind of switch, they're saying. It's all in kind of one neat package instead of having like loads of pedals to kind of simulate certain things. Because if you're playing those kind of songs, the less it's on your mind, the better. You know, because the song is quite involved. So yeah, I'd go for the Marshall MG because you've got the chorus, you've got overdrive 1, and you've got the clean channel, and it's really, really cool to have a foot switch as well, so you can like mess between the two. So I hope this answers your question. Quickly go over the EQ one more time. Clean channel is gain on 10, bass on 2, middle all the way off on 0, treble is all the way up on 10. Overdrive 2, I've got gain on 10, bass on 2, middle on 2, treble on 2, contour on 0, volume on 10, and I've got the effects set to the chorus, and I've got the effects level straight up at 5, which is 12 o'clock. I've got reverb on 2 as well. You can just hear that. Just gives you a real kind of nice, kind of sparky James Hetfield thing, and when you go through distortion. well by turning the middle and the treble up. So yeah, hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 2 now. Be quiet. Okay, so question 2 is, I recently played a gig where instead of using my amp, I had to use the PA that was set up. As a result, the levels on all my pedals were all over the place. I usually run my amp, run my pedals, through my amp's dirty channel. Why did it change everything? Simply, what happened is there was no compression on your sound. A guitar amp, especially on the dirty channel, will compress the signal. Like, you know, just basically squish everything down, and because of that, it doesn't matter how loud you crank volumes on pedals, you're not going to get it louder because of the compression of the amp. I speak about it a lot in the John Frusciante things, the reason I can run the DS2 flat out and the Ibanez Wild flat out, simply because the compression of the dirty channel, or the CL120 or the MG or the Bandit, is squishing the signal to a point where it can't go any louder. That's your lot. And that's what would happen with your with your amp, is, you know, you're running the effects on your amp to that kind of compression, so to say. So when that compression isn't there anymore, when you plug it into that PA, that compression isn't there, everything's everywhere. So and also a PA system isn't really designed, unless you've got something like a floorboard that's designed to go through a PA, or like an Axe Effects or something like that. It's not designed to have just accept pedals, because a PA is so clean. It's the cleanest signal you can get. There's never going to be any breakup on it. Run a guitar into it isn't the best option, really. You're going to get, like, you know, it's going to sound pretty. It can sound pretty harsh, and that's another thing to do with the speakers as well. PA speakers are full range. They're there to pick up all, you know, all frequencies, whereas a guitar speaker isn't. So so yeah, the reason it went awry simply is just literally because, like, there's no compression there to calm it down. If you ran a compression pedal at the beginning of the chain, like, you know, after PA compression pedal and then to your pedal board, that might help. I think I would run an overdrive pedal there actually instead, like a jackhammer or golden plexi, something like that, just to kind of like simulate the amp compression, and then maybe kind of like dial it in from a PA head. But yeah, that's the reason why, is basically that compression was not there, so your amp, so your pedals were just kind of like going and doing what they wanted level wise. There wasn't that kind of there. And compression is a key to kind of lots of sound. It really is. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question on that. If you do have to do that again, if you're not allowed to use your amp, I would kind of like maybe try like say like a compression pedal or an overdrive pedal at the beginning of the chain, like, you know, from a PA mixer to like a compression pedal or an overdrive, just to simulate your amp's compression, and hopefully kind of like, you know, keep your pedals under control and not running awry, so to say. So I hope that's answered your question. Yes, and we'll move on to question 3. Okay, so question 3 is, in Past Recedes by John Frusciante, what is the second chord in the chorus, and what is the rundown at the end of the chorus? Okay, so you said you know that bit. It's one of the coolest chord progressions ever. The second chord in the chorus is this. You go from your C to this chord, which is like it's like a D7, but not quite, because you've got this extra added note. So your first finger wants to be on your first fret on your D string, that note there. Middle finger wants to be on the first fret on the B string. Ring finger wants to be on the second fret on the G, and your little finger wants to be on the second fret on the high E. So that chord there. And it's quite a hard thing to kind of get to. I'm struggling as well because the strap's in the way. But it's initially kind of a strange chord to get to. And then the next time around, when you go to the D, you just play a D, just the D major. So it's C major, D7 with that added note. It's like a diminished note, really. It's like a flat. It's got like a flat 5 interval. And then you go to E minor, and then to D major. So one more time. C major, D7 thing, E, and into D. So it kind of. And then the rundown is you go from your C major to this chord, which is basically just like a very simple chord. You've got your middle finger, that finger's down, but it's not actually doing anything. So it's just there because it's just, you know, it's just left on from a C major, and you can see Johnny just leaves his finger there in the video. So your middle finger wants to be on the 2nd fret on the A string, so that note, and then your little finger wants to go down to the 3rd fret on your B string. So it's that chord. Then to A minor, and then. So that's the 2 chords. I say it's that B, it's that kind of D7, kind of with a flat 5 thing going on in it. Someone clever out there will know what that chord's called. I just know that's what it is. And then that rundown is from your C, you go to that kind of B. It's almost like a B minor-y kind of thing. Basically just that interval, which John loves. So yeah. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question to those chords, and yeah, let's move on to question 4 now. Aha. Okay, so question 4, I'm not sure if I've already answered this, or in another Q&A, but I thought I better do it again, because I don't actually remember. The question is, what cab do I use and why? I use 3 different cabs. The one I use in here is a Marshall JCM 900 cab. And I've had these 2 cabs for ages, literally ages. I've had them for such a long time. The reason I use them is because they've got my favourite speakers in them. The Celestion G12 T75, I think that's what it's called. It's a 75 watt speaker. It's my favourite speaker. It's got a white and black sticker on the back. That's the reason I use them. My other favourite speaker cabs are the Marshall MG speaker cabs from 2004. They're awesome. I absolutely adore them to pieces. They're absolutely fantastic cabs. I've been using them for longer. Well, they're the longest cab I've used, and they're just absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love them to bits. And the other cab I use is my orange cab that came with a CR120, but that's got Celestion 75, the G12 75s in it instead of a Voice of the World speaker. There's something about those 75 watt speakers, those Celestians, that are just very in tune with what I like in an amplifier, and every amp I run into them, I just prefer the sound of. I've tried 25 watt Celestion greenbacks, I've tried vintage 30s and all sorts of that stuff, and I've tried a lot of actual vintage speakers, and I always come back to the 75s or the Marshall MGs. I just love them. There's something in them that's very appealing to my ear. I really love them. So that's the cabs I use, and that's why. They are the stock speakers. I never mix speakers, which was another one of the questions you asked. Do I ever mix speakers? No, I'm not. I ain't got into that yet. I'm not like Eric Johnson, where you can kind of mess around with it. I'm not really into that kind of thing. I like what I like, and that's kind of it. I'm a very kind of like boring person. If it ain't kind of broke, don't fix it kind of thing. You also ask, is a 412 better sounding than a 212 or a 112 at lower volume? I don't know. I think it depends on the amp you're using. Like the Plex, like if it's a valve amplifier, like when I used to have my small box Plexi or that super bass, the small they sounded okay at low volume, but I don't know. I think a valve amp just needs to be cranked, really. But I don't know. I just love 412s. I love the sound of a 412. The only combo I've ever plugged into where I kind of feel it's moving as much air as a 412 is the Bandit, the red stripe here. I've played through a lot of combos, and I've got a lot of kind of combos kind of here and there and everywhere. But the Bandit and the CR120C was the two combos I've played through where I feel they're moving as much air as a 412. But I don't really know the answer to that one, really. I don't have a 112. I used to have a 212, and I didn't like it. I didn't get on with a 212 cab at all. I had a Marshall 212, and I didn't like that at all. So I'm not really sure. 412s do sound really cool at low volume, especially if you're running like the CL120 or the MG for it. They retain that sound really nicely. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I suppose it's just down to an experimentation really, just seeing what you like, so to say. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Let's move on to the final question of the day, question 5. Okay, so final question today is how can I get out of the pentatonic scale rut? Right, okay. Being stuck in the pentatonics, I wouldn't say is the worst thing. A lot of classic guitar solos are kind of like rooted in literally just that that kind of thing. Yeah, they are literally kind of, you know, if you think of Voodoo Child, you know, it's all just minor pentatonic. But if you want to break out of just that box, then I highly recommend learning the 5 positions of a pentatonic scale. You know, so you've got your minor, major, next position, next one, and next one. You know, because then you've got all these notes up and down the neck, and instead of just kind of going, you know, you can kind of like use those notes to kind of go. You know, instead of just kind of sticking to that one box, you can kind of scale the neck, so to say. So, learning the 5 position of a pentatonic scale in E minor is kind of like the best thing, really, because you know, all guitarists love E minor. So, learning those 5 positions unlocks the neck, and then start playing the linear. Instead of kind of like up and down, start playing across the neck is my advice if you want to kind of break free of the pentatonic grasp. You know, there's nothing really wrong with just playing pentatonic. Major and minor pentatonic are the building blocks of all guitar solos. They really are. But if you want to kind of break free of that, then you want to kind of learn those 5 positions all the way up the neck. Learn every kind of note you can that works. You know, in the key. I would say E minor is a good starting point. And then transpose it into different keys, which I'll do a video on that sooner or later. But that way you can kind of like, instead of just kind of like going, you know, instead of kind of like just those pentatonic noodles, you kind of like break out and play across the neck instead of just up and down the neck, so to say. So, yeah, 5 position pentatonic scale. Learn it in E minor because it's the easiest key to kind of learn it in, and yeah, just go from there and just learn to kind of like play along the neck. It's kind of it's almost kind of a melodic thing, and play slow. Don't play super fast. Just kind of like get it under your fingers. So. You know, instead of just kind of instead of just kind of like being stuck in that box, so to say, you now kind of like, you know, you can span the neck, so to say. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. I hope that helps you with kind of a rut you're in. I know where you are because I kind of got into that rut as well, and I don't know many people who don't kind of get stuck in that kind of thing. So yeah, learning those 5 positions, learning to kind of play linearly across the neck, I can't say that word because I'm a bit stupid. But yes, learn to play across the neck instead of kind of up and down the neck kind of helps you with that too. It gives you kind of a mental map of where you are on the neck. So yeah, just trying to learn that basically that way around. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's Q&A Wednesday. I don't actually know which one it is now. But anyway, I hope it's answered your questions okay. And yeah, I'll see you again on Friday for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.